He's an idiot. He's actually an idiot.
So now that we're in the new shop, we've got to get this thing spruced up and looking better. I know a lot of you have a shop that you hope to look good and be somewhere inviting, and to us, this just doesn't do that. It might be P. You'd be quite impressive. What we've got here are an external wall with insulation. We've got metal purlins and a block base. We want it to look like the set in the old shop, so we're working with 84 lumber and we're super excited to rebuild this thing out and make it look like the inviting and homey wood shop that all of you love seeing me and Sam be idiots in. First thing we gotta do is give ourselves something to mount to. We're gonna mount some 2x material to these purlins after we get all this stuff kind of cleaned up, and that should give us an opportunity to then go ahead and lay some tongue and groove board and get this thing looking so much better. So let's get to it. Exactly where I wanted that. We are not RR buildings, so we've never built a metal building, nor do we know much about the construction. But we do know how to build things out of wood and construction grade materials. So we're gonna use that to our advantage here. We are pretty familiar enough to use self-tapping metal screws to hang ourselves some furring strips on this, and then doing a plate, because these actually stand off, which ended up throwing a loophole in my plans, but sometimes you gotta get squirrely and just get her done. So to mount our these are furring strips. They're literally just 2x4s. To the purlin, which as I was informed is what these things are called, just cross sections behind you. We're gonna use a self-tapping metal screw. Come on in here. If you're not familiar, a self-tapping metal screw doesn't require pre-drilling into the metal, but when we're putting wood onto metal, we like to give ourselves a hole. That way we can keep that tip nice and sharp for when it hits the metal. It doesn't take as long to go through. We're gonna pre-put these in here, so that way I'm not fiddling with 99 screws while I'm standing on the ladder. And then we'll get these things fastened in. So just like on our deck project, if you're a one-man wrecking crew, you want to use clamps to your advantage. I'm just getting these things clamped up here, and then I'll be able to walk down the line. I don't need a second hand or a second person. Start it out with the center, work your way out. These don't have to be perfect, but use those clamps. These are lifesaver for stuff like this. All right, so now we should mount these boards, and that worked out quite nicely. We're gonna tap con down through this, and it'll be the same thing. This will just give us an edge, and then we'll have this bump out here for, I don't know, fun. We could hang things maybe on. We'll figure it out. I know this is a super unique situation, but we're trying to teach you guys the best we can with what we know. One thing I know is that I want to run my tap cons here into solid block. So come down over here. You can assume that there's a gap in the block here, and they filled it, but it's going to be brittle compared to the solid part. So what I did was I ran a chalk line down our board that we're going to mount, and I'll just make sure that all these hit the chalk line. It'll go super fast, and we know they're gonna be nice and secure. Then I'll use shims to get it into that wouldn't be plumb, right? That'd be level. First board, we're around center. The span we're gonna actually maybe not have enough to get to the right side. But the way I do this, the way I think is the smartest way to do this right now is we've got our center line here, and we know the bottom's gonna come exactly to where I have this mark here at the center. Jordan put the level up next to it. Once I get one board in the level, is the nice thing about this stuff is I don't have to level anything else. So I'll face nail first one on, and then the rest I can hide the nails in the tongue. Now we just grip it and rip it. Sports reference for those of you that like those things. You know what, Sam? It's not a full seat. Oh. Level. It's exactly what I thought it would look like, minus we've got to do something with the top. I forget how short you guys are. For me, it's like almost belly button height. I think it still looks weird.
What the average height is. I feel like I'm in.
So we need to do something down
You guys are the worst.
We either need to paint it, you could box it out maybe. What if we just take buckets of epoxy and just chuck it on there? What would Jins do to fix this?
The next day.
After debating yesterday, we've basically decided that because this is a 48-inch tall gap here, we're gonna put some essentially plywood sheeting that's gonna match the rest of what we're gonna do to the shop. So we need to essentially build it out to fasten into it. So we're gonna take some measurements and then we're gonna grab ourselves some materials and get this bottom tightened up. We'll probably clean that up maybe with a ledge or some piece of trim board that makes that bottom look really clean and uniform.
Just like that, Jordan, we're back.
Yeah.
That was fun.
I hope this is the right plywood.
The boys are back, let's build a wall. Someday I'll be able to know how to use my own tools and I won't have to ask Jordan to do everything.
At least we have a DeWalt specialist on hand.
We do.
What do you think, Bear?
DeWalt specialist.
Bear seems real over us today.
Dude, Bear loves to be just in the mix.
Look at his face.
John on like a framing crew would just be scary.
This is so exciting. This is my favorite kind of work.
He's an idiot. He's actually an idiot. You've never framed anything before? Quick framing tip. If you wanted to make a wall that was a 4x8 sheet of plywood, like the plywood we bought over there, which is 48 by 96, you would want to make this 48 inches wide. To do that, you would take a 45-inch piece, because these are 1.5 inches on either side, so you take 3 inches off the 48 and you get 45. None of those are 45 because, I don't know, John can't measure. So we just screwed them all together because I trusted the fact that John measured them correctly. He's now on a phone call. I don't know why he's always on the phone, but we get to redo all this.
I don't think we need to redo it. I think we just send it.
So we want to hide our gap on the ground because ground is never level. And so that means we want to bring this top here flush. Here's a tip, just stick pry bar underneath it. And then once you're against whatever you're doing, this works for drywall too. You can just bend the pry bar back until it's square and then shoot the nail. How fast can you shoot, son? Pit master, or run the pit crew. Pow!
Are you saying pow? What are you saying?
All right, we've got wood and more wood and some wood and then wood and then wood.
That looks all right, right?
All right, Jordan, I'm gonna show you how to be a man.
Okay.
By that I mean nail boards to a wall.
Let's do it, Bear.
You should be 4 feet tall. Ding-a-ling, 4 feet tall. So, we're gonna put a ledger board on this after we put essentially some paneling. Clean this up a little bit. I absolutely hate pine, and I'm just gonna keep adding things to it until it looks good, I think. I will say, I like this pine, but I don't love this stuff. So, cut our verticals, and I hope these are over 8 feet. Pube over. I want to take a second to thank Woodcraft for sponsoring this project. Woodcraft's been supporting us for years, and they're absolutely bar none our favorite store for all things woodworking. Whether you're looking for tools, materials, or just some gadgets and goodads, yeah, Woodcraft's got it all. They've got a killer online store as well, and they've got, I think, locations in 74 different cities across the country. They're our favorites, and we highly recommend it. I got a link down in the description if you want to check out more from them. And now I'm gonna go check out whatever the hell Sam's up to now. So yeah, thanks Woodcraft. So the last thing we wanna do is we're gonna put up some 1x, I don't know if it's gonna be the last thing, we'll see. Clean this up with clean shelf. And it should give us the effect we're looking for. I think we wanna screw that down.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah. She's a tater chip. This is a straight up, this is what we call a tater board. First thing, this wall is way bigger than the last one. That bench, I feel like, took up the entire back wall in the last shot. And now it barely takes up any of it. I mean, look. It's just like, it's tiny.
I mean, the wall makes you look tiny.
I'm so small. But it's already eliminating some echo, and it's gonna give us plenty of room for storing tools up there. I now have to make this thing into a glorious display of an unnecessary amount of tools. We got a laser level slapped on the wall, which, why not? We're gonna start out hanging some stuff, but I've got to pull all of these tools out of the trash can I threw them in to move because I couldn't think of a better solution.
Red tools, red trash can.
Unpacking just this, we have so much crap. Gotta get this tool wall up because in February I'm launching a course on how to grow your woodworking business. Essentially all of my knowledge to get me to this point today for you guys. And we'll be filming it in my shop in a familiar place. And it should be pretty awesome. If it's something you guys are interested in, there's gonna be a link down in the description of this video where you can sign up to an email list and get updates. We're calling it Craft a Career because that's the goal. Take your craft, turn it into your career. But excuse me, Sam, I've got to get this stage set up, so. Safety. Now squirrel. You need to tell me how close to the wall.
Stop. Don't go any further.
All right, so now that we have the stage complete, we need to clean up this diarrhea, because that's pretty much what it looks like. As beautiful as standard whatever this plastic insulation is in metal buildings, we don't like it. So we're gonna cover it with some of this tongue and groove wood and try and clean this thing up a bit. That'll also give us a place to hang stuff. This should be fun. All right, so for the plywood sheet to mount to something, we have screws that we can tap into this purlin here, but we need to mount it somewhere to this ledge and that ledge on the ground. So we're gonna rip down some of these 2x10s, and then we'll use the pieces and we'll tap on those and be able to give ourselves a surface to screw into. Yeah, this should work. All right, my friends, this is looking sick. Super stoked. And if you remember in the last shop, we had a bunch of flags that our fans sent us. We're gonna get those hung back up because man, do we love supporting our veterans and our fans. And I think it'll actually clean this up quite nice. So let's get to it. Gotta say, she's looking sweet. Well, we just got another flag from one of our fans, Dane, who was in the Air Force. He flew this thing over Syria when he was in Jordan and deployed overseas. Absolutely amazing. We're gonna hang this sucker up, and then that's gonna be a wrap on this video. If yins wanna send us something to hang up in the shop, there's a PO box listed down in the description. And if you wanna watch us build out the rest of the shop, there's a whole playlist right here. Now, excuse me.